Good morning to this house of prayer and flow. Come on in, come on in, come on in to this time. Prayer and flow. Come on in to this time. Prayer and flow. Come on in. Come on in. And it is day 92, not 91. So do ignore that first post. It is day 92. Y'all, we made it. We here. We is at the end of this time, but definitely not at the end of what it is that God is doing. And during this time, I will make some announcements. Make some announcements about what's coming next. Blessings, Destiny, as I continue to get full insight. But what I do know is that the prayer call that was on Thursdays for just the partners and supporters, that is now opened up. So I will either be doing that once a week or twice a month or something like that. But this prayer and flow time, and it'll be prayer and flow will be on Thursdays. I know for sure for YouTube. Now, what that is for TikTok or Instagram or whatever, I'm not sure if that's the same thing. So as he continues to work it out within my mind, I'll share it. Also, what if God is all of us? This conversation about this love walk approach. We're going to be having that more often. We're going to start that podcast, and I'll probably do it once a month. Well, I mean, once a week or twice a month as well. So y'all know the details when I fully got it. But welcome to this time. Come on in and do share. Come on in and do share. Come on in and do share. Yeah. If you notice, it's just been let's flow for a couple of weeks off and on. So that's just what we're doing. And I believe that this is the lead in to what the time together will be like. We're just here to speak to what it is that you need for this time and to give you what you may need. If what I'm giving in this time of fellowship is not enough and you need to book some sessions to work it out with yourself, then there are places where you can go to do that, to get some time, some one-on-one spiritual advisory time. We're here for it. We are here for it. So I don't plan for this to be a long conversation, a long flow, but I am going to share with you much of what's been on my mind. There are some things that God has been dealing with me about alone. My team knows, but this 44 is beating me across the face, honey, beating me across the face and the cheeks and everything, telling me to pay attention. So I've been just digging more into that. And I know I gave you guys that the number 44 represents everything coming together, preparation time and seasons and things like that. But God took me a little bit deeper today for the sake of myself. But what he did allow for me to share with you is this portion. In the Strong Concordance, the number 44 is the word that is defined as a fish hook or a hook. And that's in the Greek, and in the Hebrew, the definition is God is help, or God is my help, or the Lord is my help. And so with this number 44, if you've been seeing it at all, or the fours or any of that, things are coming together. However, you gotta be trusting, and you can't allow yourself to be baited by anything that's going to turn you away from walking your path and your journey. In teachings of old, this would seem to some, and this is the reason why people will continue to show up and call me names or say what they think that I am and all of that. And that's because they have not yet learned how to try the spirit by the spirit, try the heart, love, check their fruit, inspect their fruit, right? And so many people go based off of what they hear because they are afraid of being indoctrinated, they're afraid of their indoctrination to be torn down. When your indoctrination is being torn down, you feel vulnerable. You feel it like, like it's a pull and a stretch. And we begin to say things like the devil's busy and all of that because we always attribute all opposition, or we attribute our growth to something that God doesn't want. God doesn't want us to explore outside of this. God doesn't want us to do outside of this. Well, no, those are all things or tactics of people who want to control our narrative. And that is the adversarial power in the earth. Those who object what your purpose and God's plan for your life is. If you remember when Jesus was talking to Peter, when he said, Satan, the Lord rebuke, when he said, get thee behind me, Satan, he was talking to the spirit behind, or the mindset behind what Peter had done or what he said. He was telling them that, hey, I'm about to go to this place. I'm going to have to be crucified. I'm going to be offered up. And Peter says, not so. In other words, he's speaking against the purpose and the plan that it was for Yahshua's life. And people may mean you well. When they speak against it, because, and this is what parents do. We do this as parents. We don't even know that sometimes we're the adversary because we think that we're doing the right thing. Well, giving wisdom to our children as they grow up and teaching them, how to look at things and leading them in the path of faith and love and all that, we are equipping them for the life they must live outside of us. But when we see things in the spirit, when we see some of their pitfalls, when we see them walking into a ditch, when we see them, something may happen, we want to jump in and try to save them or rescue them. And we think that that is the loving part of things. When in actuality, it is adversarial, because we have to trust that God created them to go the path that they had to go. And they have to make decisions along the way. So we are not often listening for the voice of God because we're too busy trying to spit to everybody what our convictions are, what we believe, what we were raised to believe, all of that, not knowing that we have become an adversary to them. And so much of what people are going to say about me, things that they may feel because my thoughts don't line up with theirs, well, these are all the same things that Christ Joshua had to contend with. And so he did so with such grace that he says, hey, come and learn of me, because my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Now, we know dang on well he was going through it. We knew that he had opposition. We knew that people were coming to say all kinds of things and manners of evil against him because they just didn't agree with his tactic, his way. We understand that there are those who demonized him because he was different and he was calling for reformation. But his yoke was easy and his burden was light. So we got to begin to think about what that really means in context. That means that I understand them to be who they are. I accept them as they are. But for those who are willing to hear this message of liberation, you are the ones that the Father has assigned to me. And so I'm going to roll with that. And so, yes, I'm going to face the opposition of people saying you're leading them astray. But I got to be steadfast in what it is that God is telling me to do. Because, listen, I do what the Father says. I speak what the Father says. In other words, I've related to the kingdom of God within me. I've come to the place where I know who I am. And as I'm guided by love, I'm going to stay in the right place. I'm going to stay on the right path. If I'm living by faith, then I'm not going to be afraid of the unknown anymore. When he gave the disciples their commission, when he says, hey, come and follow me, he was talking to Peter and talking to the fishermen. And he said, I'll make you fishers of men. It wasn't that there was anything wrong with them making a living trying to get fish, but Jesus wanted them to walk and live in their purpose. Well, you got to make a decision with that. You got to count the cost that comes along with that. You got to be able to know that people are going to say some things and they're going to not approve of everything. But if you know that you know that you know in your heart, in the place where you love, that what you're doing is not here to cause anybody pain, you're not trying to do no ill to your neighbor, then I can sit on my platform and give this message that God has given me to give. And those who will, they will come along and they will follow for whatever amount of time that they're supposed to glean. And once the time is up, they'll choose whether they're going to stay or, they have to follow another way. Well, here's where the complication comes in. My heart doesn't like letting go. And you'll be able to relate to a lot of what I'm saying, just in a different way. My heart just doesn't want to let go. So then we begin to feel the opposition. It feels like a ripping. It feels like, oh my God, there's more changes coming. But God says, don't the seasons change every year? Just talking to one of my daughters about this. The seasons change every single year. We know that the seasons are going to change every single year. So why are we still dreading the season change? Why do we know that cold is coming, but we don't get prepared for cold? Now, it doesn't mean focus on the fact that it's coming. It means being prepared for the fact that it's coming. While still enjoying your right now, your moment, enjoying the season that you're in, celebrating, being in everything, giving thanks in the season that you're in, but being prepared. You know it's coming. Why are you afraid? And so I had to ask myself that question. You know that the shiftings are coming. You are grounded on purpose, right? To keep people grounded, to keep people feeling loved, to keep people feeling like, hey, you can start over from here. To keep people to get people to thinking. One of my strongest struggles, and here I'm about to share something else transparent. Solomon didn't ask for all the riches of land or any of those different things. He asked God for wisdom. Well, I think maybe I might have asked God for wisdom at some point later in life, because I didn't realize he already gave me wisdom as a gift. It was one of the gifts that he gave me. So as a kid, I could talk to people who were adults and they would say, "Ooh, girl, you having a conversation like you so is a whole old soul." Well, truth be told, it's just the wisdom of God that works in me. It's one of my gifts. It's not something for me to be haughty about or think I'm better than other people. It's just one of my gifts. And so as I grew, however, I knew that God was expanding me in wisdom, because he would do stuff like just have me hug older people. Hug this prophet. Hug this lady of wisdom. Be connected to these people. All of my siblings are way older than me, right? My father is 41 years older than me. You know what I mean? So everybody in my life has been older, and it's been a reason. All the people that I connect to, I'm friends with people who are twice my age, and we like close. Some people are not all the way twice my age, but older, and so it's just easy. But the fear of having that wisdom has been very present for me, because I know how bad people are rejected. Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes, and he wrote a couple of other books. He just spilled that wisdom out all over the place. That wisdom that he gave is timeless for who it's for. Some of it you may never be able to relate to, but some of it you will. And he wrote it out. Well, once he started writing Ecclesiastes, there are some Bible scholars and even Bible teachers who would then make it seem like he just went wayward, because of the decisions that he chose along the way. But the reality is that Solomon always was everything that he needed to be. And the expanse of wisdom alone causes you to see through the different perspectives of life. You cannot be what they call a righteous judge if you are not in right standing in your heart. Right standing in your heart means you love all, you accept all, you understand that God is all, and you do not reject something because you don't understand it. If you have to give a rule, then you need to do so from the place of where you're neutral, where there is no respecter of persons. And so he has this wisdom so that he can judge righteously as the king. Well, then when he begins to give into certain things in his own life, the revelation comes in even greater measure that, man, we are both. We are this and we are that. There's a time for this and there's a time for that. These things will come. because God is balanced. Blessings, Rashida. Life is balanced. Life is balanced. God is neutral. There's no in between. He doesn't accept you more than he accepts them. You're not more righteous than they are. Everybody's finding their right standing by purifying their own hearts. So I'm thinking about Solomon though, and I'm thinking about, how people read his messages and they think, oh, he just fell from grace, and he gave God glory throughout the whole entire Ecclesiastes. He ended up saying that it's the fear of God that matters, because all of this other stuff that we are doing is vanity. He's not saying that you can't do it. He's saying if you're going to do it, eat, drink, and be merry. Enjoy this life that you're living by faith. Because if you don't live that way, then you are going to cause suffering. So when you make all these fortunes and these millions and you leave it to those who come after you, you don't know their level of wisdom. They may spend it all the next day. But you have toiled your whole life in misery to make sure that you saved up something for them. No, you should have been doing it with joy. So when you left it to them, you didn't leave it to them with this judgment about how they need to handle it. You did it because you want them to have something when you leave or pass away. That's a heart thing. So I'm not going to judge you your whole life, my whole life while I'm working. I'm not going to be criticizing what you might do with it. And you got to do this. And you got to have these stipulations. You got to make sure that this happens, because now I'm judging your path and your walk. Blessings, Nessa. How are you? You got to be able to live by faith and not by sight. So Solomon is giving great wisdom, but the wisdom based on teachers in Ecclesiastes are oftentimes not accepted. Because somehow they believe that Solomon lost wisdom. He didn't lose wisdom. He was giving you the truth of this life experience. Once you've experienced life, you realize that, hey, to know thyself is actually a super great command. Know thyself, but the kingdom of God is within you. You begin to know yourself, understand how God has created you. You show up in the full strength of what that is. But the adversary is the one that tries to get you to go against what you believe to be true within yourself. Again, they may not mean no harm, but it doesn't mean like it's not going to look like the firing squad to you. So you feel like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to accomplish this, this is what I feel like I really need to do in my life, and you're contending with it. Therefore, anxiety builds up, frustration, agitation. Then we start building up this certain type of desire to control other people's desires. Amen. So we are on a journey, we are on a path, and we may put a label on it. We may choose to be a part of this faith. This person may have this practice. This person may choose not to believe anything at all because it doesn't make sense to them. God already knows. We're not here to convert anyone. We are here to give the love of God to everyone and respect their right to live by faith too. Nothing about this life is forced. God doesn't want anything from us begrudging. He says it is faith that pleases me. So we must live by faith and not by sight, and not based on your limited belief. Because I was talking to I think I talked to a couple of spiritual brothers today, and for one of them, I was saying, like, the earth, this is local. The earth is local in the great cosmos. It's like you only being ministering in your county or in your city or in your state or in your country. There's more after that. The earth is local. So we just have our mind focused on what the earth got going on, when there's a whole big old gigantic huge existence that is the great I am, and it all works together. But if our minds are local, then that's all we'll ever receive is the local law, the local policy. Well, the love of God is law. Love is law. I accept you. I love you because I know you're going to fumble. You're going to fall in the pit. If I'm equipped to help you get out the pit, I can help you get out the pit. If I am not, then I can call on somebody who is equipped. We use each other's strengths to survive in this life. It's just the way it goes because we are one. So I shouldn't be afraid to give the wisdom that God has given me to give others, because I'm afraid it's going to be judged by somebody that's going to call me names. I have to live according to my faith, and so do you. So the turmoil that you're having on the inside of you is based on the fact that you feel like who you really are is going to be judged. You feel like who you really are, if you show that person, is going to be judged. You're going to be damned for all eternity. But the scriptures tell us that perfect love casts out fear, because fear has to do with punishment and torment. Perfect love casts out fear because it has to do with punishment and torment. That doesn't mean we don't get corrected in some things, that God is not real assertive in getting his message across, but that's where the seed time and harvest comes in. A lot of times when we start going through experiences, bless us, Nadia, we start going through experiences in our life, we think, oh, the devil's busy. But if I'm not mistaken, God asked Job if he had tried. God asked Satan if he had tried Job. It was a question. Because he had already said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to and fro, seeking whom I can devour. He told God, I'm doing what you have created me to do. Because nothing could exist if God didn't create it to be so. With the function that it has, it wouldn't have the function it had if God didn't intend for it to be so. So he asked him, well, I got an assignment for you if you can't find nothing to do with your time right now. Have you tried my servant Job? Well, you got this hedge. He's telling God, Satan is telling God all this stuff. You got all this protection over him. You got this over him. You got that over him. And he says, well, I give you permission to touch this part. Because if he's true in his heart to what he's saying to me, then this is not going to cause him to curse me. So go on, do your big one. But it was allowed. Satan was waiting. This mindset, this thing was waiting for Jesus in the wilderness because he was led into it. This is this thing that is opposing what? Your true nature. Who you are, as opposed to who you feel like you got to settle to be. That's the opposition that you're facing right now. He got double because he endured. Remember how that scripture says the race is not given to the swift and the strong. Now, these is two different verses I think that somebody can merge together, but this is how we've heard it. The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but to the one who endures to the end. And so we can see the reason why it's not really about strength is because we are strength one to another in weakness. Right? If you have a financial issue, you don't know how to manage your finances, you go to somebody who has the strength in finances to help you to become strong. If you have no food, you go to the grocery store, you go to a restaurant where they have the strength of food, and you trade or you barter so they can feed your weakness, and in turn you feed in their weakness, right? Because they need the money to be able to continue to operate as a business. Job understood, and he said it at some point, and this was one where he had the revelation that, hey, I'm being tested. I'm being tried by God. This is an obstacle in my life that I must overcome. But he also states that that thing that I feared has come upon me. In other words, the thing that I was thinking would happen, the fear of losing it all, the fear of the death of the loved ones, the fear of this fear that I've had is now showing up. That which I put my faith in is now showing up. But God, I love you so much that I know that I can't take nothing that is good from your hands and not take something that I don't consider to be not so good. He didn't lie with his tongue, the Bible said. Both came from God. Both was allowed in order to strengthen. So because he stood, because he believed. See, he cursed his own self before he cursed God. He cursed the day that he was born, but he didn't curse God. He did not change his mind about the fact that God was sovereign and that he get all glory, because God is omnipotent. God is omniscient, which means he's all powerful. That means he knows everything. And he's omnipresent, which means he's everywhere, which means he is all things. So Job trusted that. Even when he was going through in his body, even when he had to face the losses around him, he strived through and he made it. He endured to the end of that particular challenge. And then the angels came to minister to him by bringing double. Well, when Jesus was in the wilderness, these 40 days and 40 nights, and he is now a hungered, he's being tempted with the things that his body needed, with the things that his mind wanted. We're not tempted unless it's something we desire. But once he was at the end of his temptation, at the end of his challenge, then the angels came to minister to him. We endure through challenges for the thing that we have faith and believe in. Martina, we know that challenges are going to come because we've been prepared for it. We've been told it all of our life. Tribulations and trials will come. But be of good cheer. It's giving you the ammunition and the tools that you need to be able to make it through every obstacle. But here's the truth. The thing that you fear will be challenged. The thing that you desire will be challenged. But it's not challenged by everything outside of us all the time. It's challenged by what's happening within us. And so for me, God, you gave me this wisdom. I'm supposed to share it, and I'm supposed to talk to people and help them to understand this philosophy or this thought process, or understand why these people live this way, or understand why you want me to learn it all. You're teaching me all of it, but I'm from a group of people who believe that if you go outside of this particular teaching or this particular study, then you are not doing what God wants. But God says to me, I am the great I am. I created all things for myself. And so then I begin to teach from that perspective. And I'm now afraid to be the fullness of who I am in God because of the adversarial conversations. Temptation will come for you to challenge yourself and to be the opposite of who God has created you to be. We think that the temptation is about the addiction stuff. No, those things will change when your heart changes, because then you will be giving yourself unconditional love. You'll begin to do whatever it is that you need to do to live in the space of that love. So if it hurts you or harms another, you won't do it, because love doesn't harm its neighbor. So your life will begin to change when you begin to pursue the practice that is for you to practice. God is no respecter of persons. So in order for you to live by faith, walking into all these unknown places, you have to be able to know that he is. And he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Not the idea of him, but to seek God for yourself. To know the truth of who God is to you. It's the reason why you've been going through so much struggle. It's the reason why you keep having all these fights with yourself, and you're going back and forth about should I not, should I not, because you've been taught to live in fear and not by faith. Faith doesn't have to be forced. If it's forced, it ain't faith anyway. So I had to own that these are just the gifts that God gave me. For me to be able to kind of be whoever I need to be, to whoever I need to be it, at the time I need to be it. That is a struggle, because the opposition or the adversarial voices that are coming at me makes me feel like I should shrink back in the corner because, oh my God, God is going to be mad. I don't really think God's going to be mad at me because I have a different revelation of him. So what am I afraid of? You're afraid of the people in their faces. What if you do change? What if you do be this? What if you do step into the truth of who you are? Can you deal with them calling you a false prophet, a false teacher? Can you deal with them calling you all kind of other names based on stuff they don't even understand? Can you deal with that? Can you bear this cross? Jesus had to be exactly who he was in the face of the people that he was born into their faith, into their religion. He didn't disrespect them by offering them a new religion. As a matter of fact, he didn't offer religion at all. He offered love as the answer. This is what connects us. This is what causes us to be full of justice and fairness. This is what causes us to look at people as people and not as their classifications. I treat you the way I treat you because I know that you are a part of the great I am, just like I am. When I hurt you, I hurt God. Jesus said in his person, he said, what you do unto the least of these, you also do unto me. In other words, what you think is scum in the bottom of the barrel, and you think that it's ugly, or you think that it's not good enough, or you think it's too cheap, or you think it's too whatever, they're going too slow, they're going too fast. All of your judgments make you an adversary. Made me one at some point. And we think we're right. But faith is about being fully convinced within yourself. If it is unclean for you, don't do it. Because if you do it, then you're going against what you believe. But if a person is free enough to live in something, you got to allow that, because love does not restrict. It only allows. Whatever your choice. And then it also gives you your outcome if you count the cost. But when you're living by faith, when you're living in faith, the suffering is not necessary. The pain will come, because you know it. You as you grow, the pain is going to come. Eventually you get to the point where the pain is no more because you've settled into the fact that this is just who I am and what I'm assigned to do. I prayed and I told God, I said, there was a verse where Jesus was talking to the people and where it said that he was healing the sick and doing what he did. But then he knew the heart of the people, so he didn't give his heart to them. Didn't say he didn't love them. He just didn't give his emotions over to them. He didn't allow them to control his narrative. You hate me? You think I'm a relic? You think that I'm a heretic? You think that I'm a blasphemer? You think that I'm being used by the enemy because I'm trying to lead you to liberty? I can't make you change your mind about that. But what I can do is let you know that what I'm doing it because I know it's my purpose and it's my calling. You don't have to agree. And guess what? Even though I know y'all the ones that's out to kill me, I'm going to still heal you anyway. What you need? You may hold. I offer it unto all without discrimination. And Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, because they are just doing what they are convinced of right now. They're living in their fear. They're living in their trauma. They're living in their pain. They're acting out because this is just what it is in their life. And because free will is for all mankind, I'm not going to judge them for their way of doing things, but I'll offer them something different if they want to receive it. But those who God has assigned will hear. The law of love did not just belong to that one time period. God has been teaching it through people throughout all of the time that the world has existed. We just don't know anything about it because we wasn't there. But we still judge. And we preach that God is love, but we display that God is hate. And so people are afraid to live in the truth of who they are because they're afraid of the rejection. They're afraid of the rejection. If I own the fact that I don't have the same preference as them, they're going to be mad at me. And because they painted the picture as if it was God being mad at me, oh goodness, now I really can't be exactly who I am. But what mistake did God make? What idea, what concept that you have in your mind that's not an original thought of God? Because where could it come from if it's not? We just have to work out our own soul salvation. Now, here's that. We are spirit incarnate. God is omnipresent. That means he's everywhere. That means there is no distance between God and us. He's closer than whatever we can imagine, because God is manifested as all things. Omnipresent. You can't be everywhere at once and not be in everything at once, or as everything at once. And so God is literally all things. This is the God Almighty that we've been taught about. He understands every idea and every concept. And so, spirit, God is love, God is spirit. And we are unique expressions. That's our soul. The thing that has the preferences. The things that may be able to eat this but not eat that. You can't eat chicken don't mean the world can't eat chicken. You can't have seafood don't mean I'm not about to crack them crabs open and eat me some shrimps. But what I will do is say, and my friends can tell you, because I have friends that are allergic. Even if I get something and I make them, and if I get something and I'm eating it, or I'm eating shrimp with them around, and I don't know whether or not it's the smell that bothers them or whether they have to ingest it or not, I'm still going to be like, oh, I am so sorry, my bad. And they will either say at that moment, oh, it's okay. It's not when I smell it. It's when I eat it that I have the allergic reaction. Then I can rest. But if they then begin to feel itchy in their throat, then the first thing I'm going to do is call for the waiter or the waitress and say, hey, can you take this back and substitute this for me? Some something with chicken or steak in it, or something with just vegetables in it. Not because I'm limited in what I should eat, but because me eating this in the face of that person is going to cause them to stumble or to have a reaction. So my liberty is not stifled because you can't do something. That's between me and God, however. Your liberty is not limited. Listen, everything you are free to do. But you learn over time self-control, and you learn, hey, this thing is not beneficial for me. Can I tell y'all, it's not beneficial for y'all to keep arguing with yourself about who God made y'all to be. And you're not trying to adjust yourself so you can be. Y'all listen, this we were whom the sun sets free is free indeed. And do you get free from addictions when you dedicate your life to following the mind of Christ? Yes, because now you understand through the eyes of love why this thing is not beneficial for you. Perfect love casts out fear. So the anxiety of coming into yourself, the anxiety for choosing based on what you know that is echoing on the inside of you. That's why you get that funny feeling when you're around certain people and they're asking you to do something. Sometimes it's because you have been told that you can't and you're afraid to try, but you really want it. And then sometimes it's just not something that appeals to you. It doesn't resonate with you. And you're afraid to say no because you don't want to be a disappointment. I know that's been my story. I don't want people to think that I'm not for them. I don't want people to think that I'm not, I'm not backing them up and all of that. But it may be something that I just don't resonate with in this season. We got to give people the liberty to do that. That's what Solomon was saying in all of his wisdom. We got to stop looking through the eyes of division and hatred and envy and I'm right and you're wrong. And we got to begin to see through the eyes of God, for he is one. A house divided cannot stand. We are the entire body, everything that exists. So us hating each other and pitting each other against each other and all of that, that's causing a great big old virus in this body. But if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. In other words, turn from the ways that you started because of the wickedness in your heart. You've been bruised, you've been hurt, you've been broken. Okay, heal that. Forgive so you can be forgiven. Yeah, let's move forward past that. It was a life lesson. What'd you learn? What'd you gain? If you are still battling with something right now in your life, it's because now it's become your oppressor. It's become your oppressor. It's become your oppressor. Faith allows you to choose. I believe that every group of people who have an agreement as to what they do in their circle together, if you all in agreement, it's not my business to come in and judge what you are in agreement with. It's not my business to judge what you have faith in. But it is for me to show you love no matter what. Because there may be something that you want to change. And if it is, I'm here for it. If it's not, then I still love you and we still going to operate. But if there's somebody in that particular location or camp that feels oppressed being there, then love says, okay, I'm not going to hold you here. You're free to go. You're free to go. Because you got to figure it out for yourself. And even if I can foresee some of the pitfalls, I can share it with you as wisdom if you want. I can give you a warning if you want. But if it's not something that you want to receive, it's not for me to force you to take it or receive it. That's why I tell anybody who comes into this space, any place where I'm live, any place where I'm doing an event, if something that I am saying is uncomfortable for you, it doesn't resonate with you, it's okay for you to leave and choose not to believe it or to practice it. But to come into my space to be my adversary, well, that's seed sown for you. And that which we sow, we shall also reap. Be careful what you do to others because it will return right back unto you. The principles are really not that complicated to follow, but we've made it complicated because we turned it into a fear-based teaching instead of a love walk message. The same power that raised Jesus is the same power that we have access to, that we all are connected to, but we have to choose. This wisdom, this love that God gave me, this desire to see everybody well, It's unique to me. And because somebody has an opinion about it doesn't mean that it's supposed to change. My adversary is the one that's speaking against the truth of my nature. And sometimes we don't know that we're being an adversary to some. That's why when people come into coaching with me, I'll say, when you're ready, I'll know. I can't force you to make this change or this shift, but I can love you through it. And as long as you assign to me, as long as we walk it together, I'm still going to be the same person. Because your journey is your journey. Finding the liberty and being the truth of who God called you to be is the reason why we teach love as a foundation. Because without love, it can become greed. Without love, it can become uh, tit for tat. Without love, it can become me against you. Without love, it can become this greater competition. I want to see you lose. I'm mad when you get a promotion and I didn't get the promotion, as if I'm the only person in this entire cosmos. But when you're transformed by the renewing of your mind, if they not going your pace, you let them by, or you go around and you keep going yours and you wish them well. If it's something you cannot participate in, cool. For me to pretend like my ministry is just for one group, one set of people, would go against everything that God made me to be. So I can continue to fight with all of the perceptions that I'm seeing and all of the pain that I'm feeling because people are rejected, because they are judged for not being themselves. No, He gave me this heart for a reason. Somebody's going to need to hear something that I have to say, and they may not classify as any religious type. They may not want to classify as anything. They just want to figure out how just to be the essence of themselves. Well, whatever it is, my language should be able to speak to those who I am called to. You got to find where you fit and follow your faith. Some people have a fear of that because they don't want to not be able to control you. Everything that was created for control's sake, God is breaking it in this season. It's the reason why y'all are looking at so much reformation. It's the reason why y'all are looking at people branching out. I mean, pushing, like we're literally almost in another civil rights type of thing. And we go through this all the time. We're now in a spiritual rights movement. And we fought hard in the civil rights movement. They fought really hard in the civil rights movement so that we can have the rights that we have right now. And we're sitting in the middle of one of those in the spiritual realm. God is saying, I'm erasing the lines, and y'all keep bucking the system. And you bucking it so hard that you won't even be who I made you to be. But yet you're trying to convert somebody else over here to be something that you are, and you're not even sure of who you are. He's erasing the lines, and he's reminding us that love is law. Love is the law. Love is the law. And when we govern ourselves according to that, then everything else begins to fall in its place. Go ahead and take a deep breath for me. Some of you are listening to me and all you want is freedom. All you want is freedom from feeling as if you are not enough and that there's something wrong with you. You just got to go through maturity. You just got to go through trying it on and taking it off if it don't work. Trial and error is going to happen. But all of it is the point back to what you believe. What do you have faith in? Do you have faith in the fact that you're going to always be a failure? You're never going to amount to anything? If that's what your faith is in, you're going to keep being presented with the same thing. But when you begin to know that in God there is liberty, I govern myself according to the fruit of the Spirit so that I do not get wayward with my behaviors and my actions. I search my heart to make sure that I'm not the one that's hating them for being them. And then if there's something in me that is not beneficial, then I do the work that I need to do to shift that. Now, hear me. I said what is not beneficial for you. I didn't say what the adversary keeps telling you is wrong with you. Let's be transformed by the renewing of our minds, that we are not conformed to the world. It's not talking about the dancing or the whatever people choose to do with their life. It's talking about the mindset of the world. I got to do this in order to survive. I got to take them out in order to get where I want to be. I got to do this in order to make this happen. I got to do that in order. With all the frustration and the anxiety and the fear is literally, it's so intense. It's so intense that everybody's around here agitated with each other. There's a shift happening in the entire cosmos. And because we have not learned that it all works together, or how it all works together, because we've been taught how to reject this teaching and reject that teaching. You can't reject science, man. It's the reason why you can sit on that couch or lay on that bed. Because somebody used science to come up with how to put the wood together or melt it down or break it down, or they use their arts, or they use these studies to make sure that this fabric went with this fabric, and that you could put these feathers in a pillow and it would make for this. They did all the experimentation so that you can have the luxuries that you have, and you want to go against the scientists? Come on now. They just don't see it the way you see it. Digress. God is the orchestrator of it all. Either you're going to begin to try to get an understanding of that, starting with yourself, or you're going to keep struggling with your enemy. You're going to keep wrestling, Jacob. You resist, submit to God, submit to love, resist the devil, resist that pain you got going on, and it'll flee. Resist it. Don't give in. Is it easy? I ain't even finna tell you that it is. Especially not when I still have to go through my moments, check my own heart and feelings towards things like this. Am I feeling like this because this, or is this something that I need to be assertive about and stand up and say my piece? Is it something I need to just let slide? I got to go through the motions every day. We choose every day. So now choose to trust God with your design. If it's naturally happening in you, then that's not by happenstance. It's the thing that you can't seem to resist no matter what. It's pulling you, it's calling you, it's saying, hey. See, that's the thing that we call the devil. But the adversary is the one that keeps you from living by faith, from living in love. Weigh your faith and your beliefs on that. Is what I'm doing harming somebody else? Am I just being so free that I don't care whether or not I offend them or not? That's something somebody got to deal with. That's still pain they dealing with. It don't make them wicked, though. It make them broken. And love covers all things. Love heals. It is the master healer. And if we all choose to follow the mind of Christ, to let this same mind be in us, which was also in Christ Joshua, then we look at the Beatitudes, we look at the fruit of the Spirit, and we look at all of those things that tell us to think on those things that are a good report and positive. And we make that our diet. We only feed ourselves what we want to experience. And I want to be whole. I want to be happy when I wake up in the morning. And I have so many clients that feel the same. So many spiritual daughters and spiritual sons and those who come that feel the same. Apostle, I just want to be free. And if God sent you in my direction and we connected, then he's telling me to tell you that your freedom is in accepting who you are. No more fighting, tussling and arguing with yourself. Ground yourself in love. You ain't doing this to be mad at nobody else. You're not doing this to prove no point. See, if you're doing all of it to prove a point, then that means you're still not healed from something. You still haven't forgiven something. So you're still spinning the block with your pain and with your sorrows. That's what you choose to make your God right now. But when you choose that I want to be whole, I want to be free, and I refuse anything that speaks the opposite of that, then you're not afraid to try. He will keep you in all of your ways. Why? Because you're living by faith. He understands that God is not petty. We are. And sometimes in our defense, we were taught and trained to be petty. We were taught and indoctrinated to be hateful and to be judgmental and to try to control somebody else's narrative. But everybody wants liberty. Take another deep breath in. Let yourself dissolve, let yourself deflate, let yourself relax, let yourself do whatever. Just give it all to God. Be naked and unashamed. You can be naked and unashamed. Do you understand? Adam was naked and unashamed, walking in the cool of the day with God. And guess what? Both his feminine and masculine was within him. Technically, we don't even know what Adam looked like. We don't know his manner. We don't know his way. We don't know what he looked like walking in the fullness and the authenticity of who he was. It wasn't until they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that he began to doubt who he was. And that caused the separation. But him going from understanding that God is with me at all times to him feeling like God is angry with me. God feels like I'm wrong. So I got to hide myself. I got to cover myself up. And so because his mindset now was, I got to cover myself up, God made him clothes or made him something to cover himself with. God responds to what your faith is doing. So if you want to be free, you got to start thinking free thoughts. My liberty is my liberty, grounded in love, because I believe that love doesn't harm. That's the narrative I want to live. And walking by faith, because it's impossible to please God without it. He is the God of all possibilities. So whatever possibility makes sense to me, he designed it. So we got to get out of guilt and shame. This is the message of Christ Joshua. There is now no condemnation unto you when you living by faith, when you living in love, when you giving grace to others for being them. See, you find that way and you walk that way and life begins to unfold for you. But yes, you are going to battle with your indoctrinations. I definitely did. Still have moments where it comes up in me and I'm like, see, and that's another reason why I may be apprehensive about sending out certain messages to certain people, because I don't want you to stumble. If I know that you are against what I'm saying, there ain't no need for me to try to recruit you to make you believe what I'm saying. No. You know where I am. And if there's any time that you feel like you need a message from me because you know my heart and you know I'm going to say what God is saying for me to say to you, then you'll find me. I don't need to force what I'm talking about on other people. Those who will, let them come. Those who will, let them come. And there's a cost account. There's a cost account. When Jesus called them off of their jobs to be his disciples, they still had a choice. If he gave a choice to the people who he was healing, will I be made whole? Then he definitely gave a choice to them. But when you leave when you follow me, you're gonna have to leave some stuff behind. Are you good with that? Because if you're not good with that, you won't be walking with me by faith anyway. Not even a little bit. He took those disciples with him because they had at least a tiny bit. But many of the times he would say to them, "Oh, ye of little faith, how long am I going to be here with y'all? I'm trying to teach you what you are made of. I'm trying to teach you what God really wants for you. And because of your fear, you can't receive it. But when you do receive it, you can say to this mountain, be thou removed and be cast into the sea, and it will obey you. You can ask whatever you will according to faith, be it unto you." But we're afraid to live the truth of our narrative. So anxiety remains, unrest remains. And because we hold other people to this standard, we want them to be everything we need them to be so they can fill a void in our life. We have yet to say, God, listen, if they're not the ones that is filling that void in your life, then it just could simply be that God has something else for you that's supposed to. But when you hold a person to be the thing that you want them to be, then you're not letting them live by faith. You are not trying to control their dynamic. And that's manipulation in and of itself. That's that dark magic people we talking about. When you do something from a broken heart, when you do something from a heart that is void of love and pain and all this other stuff, and you wish that people would die, and you wish that they would get back what they dished out and all of that, baby, you still hurting. And you haven't accepted the unconditional love of God, and you don't know how to extend it. So you're battling with yourself. You're afraid. So we begin, let me tell you something. We begin to find somebody to blame for it. No, it's just your natural self. How you know, Apostle? Because something similar can happen to another person and they choose a whole different route. You are choosing based on what is naturally in you. But because you've had the teachings that this is wrong and that's wrong and this is bad and that is bad, you fight with whether or not this is really you or not. I got to stuff that down. I got to deny my flesh. Yeah, deny your flesh, not your soul, not your spirit. Your flesh is going to tell you what you can't do. Your flesh is going to tell you that you're limited. Your flesh is going to tell you that God created everything to look exactly the same. People say they want to look like Christ. What you're saying is, I want to walk with the same mind that was in Christ Joshua. I ain't trying to be him. Our mission is similar, but our outcome may not be the same. Let's take this third deep breath in. I know this heavy, y'all. I know it's a lot being said and you're trying to process it. That's why it's recorded, so you can go back and listen as many times as you want to. We just planting seeds, and for some of y'all, it's watering. But God will give the increase as you do what it is that you were instructed. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, and all of its righteousness. And all these things shall be added unto you. Everything that you need for your life, it will be added unto you. But you got to go within first. How do I know? Because they asked Jesus where the kingdom was, when it's going to come. And he said, you're not going to be able to observe it with the eye. For the kingdom of God is within. So while you're looking for an outward sign or show, you're going to keep missing it every time because you're looking in the wrong places. God, give me the truth of who you are in me, through me, as me. Lead me to the place that I need strength right now, or lead that person to me, or lead that thing to me. Help me to know when my strength has arrived. Help me to be humble enough to receive it from them. And when the time is up, if the time is up, some people you will be with forever. Because they're like a forever lesson for you, and you're going to be teaching them some things too. Y'all going to be connected. But there are some people, like, again, you may take a financial course. That thing lasts 12 weeks. And that's your 12 weeks. You got the information that you needed. You're stronger because of it. So you can go ahead and transition and leave that behind. Some things you're going to continue to do. You're going to continue to have the seed planted and watered over time. And whatever the pace is that you are growing. Stop being mean to yourself about it. Stop beating up on yourself about what you haven't accomplished already. You fighting with yourself, but it's really just your fear. You ain't got to fight with yourself when you face your fear. Oh, I'm so behind. I wish I was doing this. There's an appointed time for everything. So are you preparing? You're in preparation. Just keep preparing. So when the time comes for you to graduate to that next place, you already got everything in place for yourself. And for some of you, it may just simply be that you didn't take the opportunity because of your fear. So now face your fear. Because that thing keeps coming back for you. That thing I fear that's come upon me, it keeps happening over and over and over again. Because you put in your faith in the fear, the thing that you fear. You put in the faith in the thing that you fear. You put in the thing in the faith that you put your faith in the thing that you fear. And so now you have to put your faith in the thing that gives you hope. The thing that brings that joy and that peace and that happiness and that love. And you got to work on only sowing what you want to reap. We give first. You give to others what you want to receive. So if you don't want to be talked down to, if you don't want to be mistreated, if you want to be understood, then you got to use empathy and begin to put yourself in another person's shoes too. You can't always expect it to be about you. So when we take this third deep breath in, we hold it and just sit in this great gratitude for life and for breath and for allness and love and peace. I know it's uncomfortable for y'all to be in a space where all we talk about is love and peace and joy and positive thoughts and all that. It's uncomfortable because we've been programmed to do otherwise. So this is the place where you are being transformed by the renewing of your mind, or where you will receive your salvation. In other words, where you will begin to adopt the mind of Christ, and you will begin to work out your own soul salvation. Is this beneficial for me? Is it not? Is this serving the greater good, or is it not? Because if I sow, I'm going to reap. If I give of myself freely, God ain't going to, I ain't going to be blank. He's going to get me back. Multiply to the full, until it overflows, but not until I come into agreement with it. So if you're full of anxiety, or you're anxious, is that the wall that's blocking? So when you breathe out, after you hold this breath in gratitude, when you breathe out very slowly. And at the end of that, you make your own affirmation. Or you can simply ask, God, what are you trying to become through me? Where is this life experience leading to? Holy Spirit, lead me and guide me into all truth for my life. How am I an asset to this world? What do I need to offer to the world? That urging you to give something, it's because you're finally opening up yourself to the fullness of what love is. You know that you're here to give something. And when you do that with your whole heart without grudge, then you'll begin to see the very same thing come back to you. Take that deep breath in. God, thank you for allowing me to see more and more of you each day. Continue to create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me, that I will not judge your creation without understanding. And I know that because you are almighty, that because you are all knowing, and because you are everywhere, there are no mistakes. There's just discovery. There's just walking by faith. There's just being fully convinced of the thing that I am hoping for. All things are already made manifest. I just have to come into agreement with it. I will not allow the fear of rejection to block me. But I trust that because I have sown seeds of love and favor and care for others, that I will never have to feel ashamed of what I'm asking. And I have to trust, oh God, that you have placed that thing in my path for a reason. It seems like a hurdle to some, but you're just trying to show me the strength of what I have inside of me, and I'm grateful for it today. I pray that they, in turn, will begin to see how unconditional your love is. If something is unhealthy for them, if something is not for them, if there's fear, if there's hate, if there's anger, if there's unforgiveness, if there's bad eating habits, if there's addictions, things that will cause them to fade away from here, I pray that they see their value to choose otherwise if they want it. But I pray that they know that they're loved no matter what decision they make. That's how you love us. It wouldn't be free will if you punished us for using it. That would be a scare tactic. So God, we thank you for the liberation that comes through the mind of Christ, understanding through the eyes of love and liberty and faith and grace. Let us align our hearts that which we do to the least of these, we know that we do unto you. We thank you for the healing. We thank you for the understanding. We thank you for the growth. And I thank you for the liberty. Aso rebakataya. Shila mansoko rebai. Maso rebakataya mansiki. Don't be baited by anything that doesn't. Listen, when Jesus told Peter, go open the mouth of that fish, Peter caught a fish. He baited the fish. He opened the mouth of that fish to take out the coins, the provision that they needed. Jesus didn't say, oh, don't worry about it because you ain't got to pay Caesar because, you need to rebel against the system. Jesus says, go get that money, pay Caesar what is due Caesar, give God what is due God. He did not reject the system that was in place. He didn't talk against it. He gave to that system because they believe that that's how it works. He didn't try to break their customs to make them feel bad. But when he was with his disciples, he did as he felt was okay in his liberty. When they would come to him and they would have a complaint about it, he would give them a response or an answer. Basically allowing them to see through the same lenses that they taught. But they had names to call them. Peter caught a fish that provided what they needed. If you're going to be hooked by anything, be hooked by the thing that is for your good. Don't be afraid. And I know that's easier said than done, but I'm praying for you and holding you in my heart. I believe for you. I believe in you. And I trust God didn't make a mistake with you. So I'm here to help you unfold all of that, which He's called you to do and be. It is well. It is well with your soul. Confess that, and God will continue to align you to where it absolutely is, where you wake up in total faith and trust and believe that you're on the right track. There is no sorrow that comes along with that. So if you're suffering, if you're in sorrow, if you're combating against something, that means you have not made peace with the direction or the path for your life. I love you so much. Just because I can, I'm going to go ahead and go. If you give, I will respond to you in your inbox on coffee. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you do.